Hey, alright, so the compression and expansion of the longitudinal waves cause the erratic oscillation, you can see it there, of the neighboring particles. Guess what is it? What is it?
Can I play with it?
No, you can't play with it. You will enjoy it on as many levels as I do. The colors, children.
Know everything. I don't know everything back to the beginning. I don't know everything forward to the future. I have a certain set of things that seem to work.
Then your facts are baseless.
Baseless as they are, they work in terms...
No, that's another baseless claim.
Okay, fine.
Look, people say, you haven't proven the Bible? I say, well, the Bible is self-attesting. When God speaks, his revelation is self-attesting. Okay? And they'll say, I don't accept that. Okay, I say, fine. Then you're going to deal with the consequences, right? So if you say the Bible has not been demonstrated to be the ultimate authority, then your mind and the atheist mind will be holding to the autonomy of their reason. Well, what makes their mind the ultimate determiner of facts? You see, in the Christian worldview, God is what determined what the facts are because of his creation, because of his plan. If somebody says, no, it is the mind of man that determines what the nature of facts are. It is the mind of man that determines what, if any, universals they are. Okay, fine, I'll take them at their word. How do you rationally establish universals? The answer is they don't. They do so by blind faith.
Blind faith, yeah, but they also might say that the mind of man established the God that you speak of.
That would be another baseless claim. How would they defend that God doesn't exist? Because if you say all God concepts do not have their origin in God's revelatory acts, and God's revelatory acts is broader than what people think it is. In other words, the Bible says that God has made mankind to know that he exists simply by the creation itself, and he's put it within our hearts, in addition to special revelation. So if they say all God concepts are just simply man-derived only, that's a de facto denial of the existence of God. Do they have a defeater for God?
Why didn't God put a God in everybody's hearts?
He did. The mistake that you're making is that people who say, well, I don't believe in that God, is they are suppressing what they already know. They know that whatever exists is indicative of an absolute. And they know that since they're rational, that which is absolute has to be rational. Otherwise, they're not rational. And it would be absurd to claim that rationality comes from non-rationality.
Okay, but you were weren't you kind of claiming that rationality comes from the Christian worldview, that you own rationality basically?
Rationality, okay. There's no antithesis between the Christian saying I possess rationality and the ultimacy of reality possessing rationality. But when you reject that, you're saying I possess rationality and it's derived from ultimately non-rationality. Explain that.
Hold on. But you did say that you basically owned it through your God revelation.
Well, we could only know anything through God's revelatory act. For example, in order for me to know I have a $10 bill in my pocket, it's going to require one or more of God's revelatory acts. The very fact that I can see color is a revelatory act of God, because he instituted color. He instituted eyesight. He instituted sense perception. He instituted the mind of man. The mind of man.
How do you know that?
He gave self-disclosure of it, and that would be the only way to know it. Otherwise, nothing could be known.
What is self-disclosure?
God, being a personal agent, does revelatory acts so that we can know certain things, both directly and indirectly. There are certain things that we know that we can't be wrong about, that we operate from, that we don't even question, because God ordained that we think that way. And knowing something means that we have a belief that's true and there's a justificatory path. Whether or not I can explain that to you. Let me give you an illustration. It doesn't prove what I'm saying. Imagine a hypnotist says to the hypnotized man at the party, he says, purple spaghetti and chopsticks. He says, when you come to, I'm going to ask you to tell me what's in the envelope, and you're going to give me that answer. The hypnotist has now implanted a piece of information, knowledge into his head. And so when he comes to, he says to the guy at the party, he says, all right, you're going to be the magician this time. And he's doing a humorous piece.
Okay.
And there's 20 other people at the party, and he says, okay, Joe, what's in the envelope? And he says, just say anything that comes to mind, Joe. And Joe goes, I don't know, purple spaghetti and chopsticks. And the magician tears open the envelope, blows in and pulls it out, and he pulls out a card, and it says purple spaghetti and chopsticks. And Joe's going to be going, holy crap. How the hell did you do that? And everyone else in the party is going to be laughing because they're cognizant of the justificatory path. But the implanted knowledge that he had, did he know it? Yes. But did he know how he know it? No. There are some things that you know, but you don't know how you know it. Same thing with children. Now, many things we know how we know it, but not all things. And so in order for us to know anything at all, there has to be a justificatory path of God's revelatory acts. And when God said, let there be light, that was a revelatory act. When he created the earth, that's a revelatory act. When he created birds and animals, that's a revelatory act. When Leonardo da Vinci made the Mona Lisa, that's a revelatory act. When he wrote a letter to a relative, that's a revelatory act.
Actually, I think when he said that Janus's bladder is full, that was also a revelatory act. I was just saying that when he said my bladder was full, that was also a revelatory act because I have to go pee and I will.
All right, yeah, I got to take a break too.
History is replete with turning points, Lieutenant. You must have faith.
Faith?
That the universe will unfold as it should.
But is that logical? Surely we must.
Logic. Logic is the beginning of wisdom, Valeris, not the end.